Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the brand new American destroyer line. This time taking a look at the Tier 9 Christopher. This ship is absolutely incredible, just like the Burrows, and this line is shaping up to be very, very powerful. Perhaps too powerful. The more I play with this smoke, the more insane it gets. I absolutely love these smokes. You can be incredibly aggressive, so creative with them. They are just always available to you. One of the things I love about the British DD line is the ability to constantly spam smokes. You always have that smoke to get out of a bad situation. Here I use a smoke early to try and get some free damage in on this Fantask. He grounds though, smartly, staying behind the island, preventing incoming damage. So we can drop our smoke screen right now, and in 11 seconds, we can use it yet again. It's so incredible to always have these smokes available, let alone the insane SAP DPM that this line brings. You have the same SAP DPM, or pretty much, it's like 3,000 less than the Regulo at Tier 10. Tier 10 Italian DD? Yeah, the Tier 9 here has that level of DPM, with insanely good firing angles and the ability to farm at range. But we can play so aggressive. Look, we're able to push up yet again, flank around this Fantask, and still have our smoke available to us to not eat the other Fantask's burst fire. Having his reload booster up means he's got some pretty respectable DPM, as well as backup from an Illinois, which is also high DPM. So we're going to stay in smoke here, trying to avoid that damage. But we can drop this smoke screen as soon as his burst is out and finish him off. And then we can smoke back up again so that we don't take any more damage from this Illinois, if we can't just get behind an island in this case. So we'll drop the smoke and we're going to finish him off. How insane is that? It's so fun to play. All right, these smokes are incredibly fun to play with. I worry that we're going to see these lines played as purely long-range SAP farmers, because they're incredibly good at that. Being 137mm guns, this SAP is able to pen 38mm. So this Illinois essentially has no armor against us. And given the pen angles that SAP has, we're not going to be bouncing a lot at these longer ranges. Superstructure is pretty easy to farm as well, but even if we hit the bow or stern sections, we're still going to get quite a few full pens. Deck armor also. And we get to smoke up in this case, because I'm a little bit worried about this Prince getting some cross shots in on us. But we always have the option to disable our smoke screen, push up a little bit more, try open water gunboating, and then smoke back up again. This is quickly going to be the best line to learn open water gunboating on. The shell velocity is amazing, so it's very easy to learn the lead, concentrate on dodging incoming fire, and then when you get into trouble, you literally always have a smoke ready to get in cover. Always. There is not any time that you're going to run out of smoke if you're trying that open water gunboat playstyle first. If you're trying to use these like traditional smokes, then they will run out quicker. The Christopher here does have lower duration on this smoke consumable, and we need to talk a little bit more about it as I've done some more experimenting. You can't actually buff the duration on these smokes, and Wargaming does not make that very clear at all. So I tried to slot the smoke generator mod for Cole, that extra upgrade that you can take. I tried to run the flag. I tried extra consumable duration in the 5th upgrade slot instead of concealment, as well as trying the commander skill, 2-point commander skill. Nothing changes the smoke duration here. And I wonder if that's because it's not an action time on this smoke. When you look at the actual text of this smoke, it says total usage time. So on that technicality, it seems like we actually can't buff the duration, which I think is a good thing, because the limitation here being the duration, this percentage buffs would be absolutely ridiculous on a 180-second smoke screen. The minimum usage time, and more importantly, the ability to get the smokes back quicker, can be buffed. So anything that reduces consumable reload, gets them back quicker, actually will impact this. It already has an insanely fast cooldown time, but that is worth mentioning. 20 seconds goes down to like 17.5 seconds if you take the one-pointer commander skill, which sometimes is actually quite useful. But even at these longer ranges here, 11.6, we're well outside Gearing's main gun range at this point. It's like 11.1 on Gearing, something like that. We have way better shell velocity. It's quite easy to hit these guys. And while I'm not running full range here, I'm trying to run as much DPM as I can with good concealment. We actually get down to a 6.4 kilometer detect on Christopher. It gets even better. And compared to Burrows, there's more. Not just the better D-Tech, but we actually have better firing angles. So the tier 9 here, while we lose some DPM on these main guns, we lose a little bit of HP, and our torps go from being Fletcher torps to Benson torps. A little more speed on them, but still Benson torp damage with 10-kilometer range instead of the 9.2 kilometers of range. So they're slightly buffed. You still only get one launcher though. We still have very similar DPM. I mean, the difference between 263,000 SAP DPM and 308,000 SAP DPM is there, but consider that our 2 salvos into this DD just netted us nearly 10,000 damage. That's 9,500 damage in 2 salvos. I don't think we would have got 3 salvos out of the Burrows, and this is the tier 9. Although I will say that extra HP certainly does come in handy. When you hang around a very common torp angle, well, yeah, some mistakes were made, weren't they? I will say the rudder shift is a little bit better on this one too compared to Burrows. You get half a second quicker, 4.5 versus 5. Turning radius a little better as well as we complete our submarine minigame on this flank. Fortunately, he overcommitted, so we could actually do something. Now we get to smoke up, and we can use this as a very long smoke duration here when dealing with a battleship pushing up. We're kind of pinched on this flank, and if I was in a British DD, like I've been comparing these smokes to and how I love that they come back so quickly, one of the downsides of being a British destroyer is that your smoke doesn't last very long. So if a battleship happens to keep pushing like this, sure, he's going to go down eventually. He might actually survive long enough to get a couple HE salvos off at you close range before you get back into your next smoke screen, because it goes down quickly. Not so here. We have the flexibility to run one extremely long smoke or have even faster burstier smokes than the British DDs. That is so fun, okay? And if Wargaming's watching this, I think that is more than enough for this to be a really interesting line. I think giving these ships sap, especially sap with lots of range and incredible shell velocity, is too much, okay? I think the more I play with these, the more busted they're gonna feel as I get more confident to play more aggressive. Even losing 16,000 HP for free here, we're still going to be pushing up quite a lot. Got a lot of smoke screen left, so we get ourselves into a good position and we use a longer duration smoke screen. That flexibility is so nice. You really don't have to think about it all that much. Use them aggressively and often in the early game, as that is when you are liable to lose a lot of HP as a DD. Surviving that early 5-10 minutes of a battle can really help out your team in the late game. It's really difficult in Gunboat DDs to not take an excessive amount of damage. And even if you do, in a game like this one, I certainly did, you can still bring things back. It's a very powerful line, and while I'm excited to have these smokes in the game, I am a little worried about some of this sap damage. Here's a Kansas, and oh look, that's 5,000 damage, or near enough, into a superstructure. And we have like a 3-second reload right now. This is the tier 9, by the way. This isn't the tier 10 power level. And speaking of, I should get back to that comparison, as the firing angles are a big difference here. So with Christopher, we get 25-degree forward firing angles. The rear turret only is 360 degrees, and we get 40 degrees backwards. So it's still a little bit unfortunate on the rear firing angles, but I think that's a good thing to disincentivize just a pure kiting playstyle to get this full DPM online. I do think that shows some good foresight. But Burrows is 30 degrees forward and 50 backwards. And what does it gain over the tier 9? It gains a bit of DPM, but not so much that these turret angles don't certainly dampen that bonus. The extra HP too, and getting up to Fletcher torps as well, but tier for tier, I think Christopher is actually stronger than Burrows at its tier. And Burrows was crazy at tier 10. Nice to have a tier 9 though that isn't just free XP bait, I gotta say. So if you're gonna be grinding through this line in a couple months, early access does take 2 patches, unfortunately, if you're free to play or not wanting to spend over 30k doubloons or however much this insane early access event is gonna cost to do right now. Again, don't recommend. Highly recommend you stay away from any of these early access events. It's way too much, man. Wait the 2 months, and then grinding through, you got yourself a very good tier 9. I'm excited to go down to the tier 8 and tier 7, see how they're gonna go as well. But so far, this tier 9 and the tier 10 are absolutely a blast to play, especially the ability to play so aggressive. We got quite a bit of HP here. It's a big target to hit, but reasonable enough maneuverability and this amazing smokescreen to get us out of poor situations is so fun to play with. I really gotta emphasize that fun playstyle of playing aggressive. The more I've just full sent it in and see what happens, the more I've enjoyed this line. I expect that's not what we're going to see. It's a very passive meta. It's not very forgiving. It's very punishing to people who play aggressive, especially destroyers that play aggressive. Very easy to go down very early. But man, it's actually very, very fun. But I mean, this shell velocity and the sap damage at range means just that pure long-range farmer roll is pretty easy to run as well. Finally, though, I do manage to land a single torpedo on this line. I have not been playing around these torps much at all. They've really just been zoning torps for me. I haven't hit too many of them. I think they are a bit of an afterthought on this line, rightfully so, given the gun power here. But it is still nice to have them. It is a bonus. If people do rush you at close range, it's a good thing to have. Around islands, anything like that. But your guns are still just going to be the bread and butter here. Pushing early into caps, we can do that when there's island cover. Since then, we don't have to worry as much about radars. Some flanking ships, we're cutting off firing angles here. This is Zuma, Colorado, don't have an angle to hit me. As always, when we're playing aggressive, we need to be focusing on isolating 1v1s. A lot of it is about positioning your ship around islands to prevent the bulk of the enemy team shooting at you. This is a risky play still. Notice we actually ate some AP full pens there, I think, from that Schultz. It's a bigger DD. It certainly is a big DD. But it's really, really fun to play in these more aggressive positions. I get myself caught by a Colorado of all things. Just poor play by me, honestly. I have no excuse, but look at the damage we're going to get. We're actually going to survive this barely. But the sap burst damage is so insane here. I haven't talked about the HE much because I really don't shoot the HE all that often. Our DPM is going way down there, up down to 171,000 HE DPM, which is still better than Fletcher HE DPM, by the way. It's like 160-some thousand HE DPM. So it's still better, but given the SAP DPM is 263, nearly 100k more, it's just way worth using that. Those HE shells, though, do still have an 8% fire chance, so sometimes could be worth using. Although I would just stick with the sap, man. When in doubt, shoot sap out of this line. It's crazy. Finding ourselves a broadside North Carolina. The only way he gets out of this situation is if he stops and reverses, and even then my teammates probably clean him up. But if he stays out here like this, the sap damage goes crazy. We've lost so much HP now, and in this case, I am running a full DPM build with the third 3-point skill for DPM, as well as Fearless Brawler. Not that I'm making much use of it in this match, and foregoing concealment for that. Not taking the extra range because they limited me on commander points. So this isn't even the full buffed up Christopher with 21 points. With a 19-pointer, I'm actually not able to get 3 4-pointer skills, which is sometimes really, really nice to have. This NC definitely is going to go down, though. This sap is so good. A downside, though, is that this smoke screen does not cover you when you're going at speed. So if you're going more than a quarter speed, it's not going to be a crawling smoke that covers you. Full reverse, you can actually outspeed it in full reverse. And of course, if you get caught like I did here, well, you can't slow down in time into your smoke. But you're probably used to that. It's worth mentioning, though, as I've compared it to Regulo, and this having similar DPM to Regulo, trying to play aggressive, Regulo's got a really nice toolkit that allows it to get out of some of these situations as well. A new line, of course, is always very exciting, and the more I play with these ships, the more I'm enjoying them. As mentioned, I really am having a lot of fun playing these ships incredibly aggressively, force pushing DDs on caps, and absolutely dunking on them with these incredible smoke screens that allow me to smoke up for a second, reposition, smoke up again. People just don't expect it right now. As they get used to these DDs, this trick may not work so often, but for now, it is working quite well. I think as more people understand these smokes, it's still going to be incredibly powerful. The flexibility to have incredibly long duration smoke, a single long duration smoke, or even burstier smokes than the British DDs, to go either spectrum is absolutely incredible. We still have these 10% engine boosts, bit of a unique characteristic there, as most standard engine boosts are actually 8%. We're going for the full DPM build here. Really not much else to say there. I do not recommend you run torps at all. And then this was one of the builds that I was running here, trying for some concealment plus some Fearless Brawler to help in those aggressive DD pushes. Although for a 21-point commander, as you can see, we can't quite get there. I would definitely want main battery and AA specialist for this full aggressive close range build. That gets us really good detect. 6.4 is the detect. For some reason, they don't update the stats here in port. Makes it confusing for these initial videos. I know. I apologize. There's nothing I can do about it. This is Wargaming we're talking about. It is 6.4 though. That was a buff to it, and that is what I played with. Very powerful to have that. Although, I think the full range build with Gunboat as well, and then you still take this, is very strong too. I guess that would get you around a 7.1 detect, somewhere in there, which is still solid, especially considering the extra range we get. 15 kilometers of range on a tier 9 DD with very usable firing arcs. The shell velocity here is just that good. Same as Burrows. You get used to it. It is really not hard to lead these guns. 38 mil sat pen, huge alpha damage. These DDs are absolutely awesome. The 360 turret in the back is really nice for these aggressive plays. This one with a 40-degree firing angle backwards makes that kiting roll more challenging, but at those longer ranges, it's still pretty difficult for people to hit you. Yes, it's a taller DD. It's not particularly small in that regard, but lengthwise, it's not terribly long. And this rudder shift here and turning circle radius being a little better than Burrows makes it able to dodge a lot of incoming fire. And I think that's about it for this new Tier 9 Christopher. A very, very powerful Tier 9. I expect it to be incredible in ranked seasons. And really nice to see a Tier 9 that's not just free XP bait. It's very powerful and worth grinding for. Don't just skip this one to get the Tier 10. This one is well worth playing. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.